I'm reading this on behalf of my cousin, Chris Rupert, who's the son of Dick Rupert, my uncle, who this is about. My Uncle Dick's company was D 119th Infantry. He was a sergeant. He received the EAME Theater Ribbon, 4 Bronze Stars, Good Conduct Ribbon, and the Purple Heart. He was wounded October 3rd, 1944 in Germany. He entered the Army March 23rd, 1943, and served for 2 years, 6 months, and 11 days. Uncle Dick didn't like to talk a whole lot about the war. He didn't tell Chris about that day that he was shot, that he had a bad feeling that something was going to go wrong. On the day he was shot, his company was in Germany near France and was attempting to push the German line back. They came under heavy artillery fire from the Germans, and he and a few other soldiers got separated from their company. They took refuge in a church where some nuns were staying. The nuns prayed over them in French and gave all the men small religious medals. One nun said in English that my Uncle Dick would survive. He said the shelling got worse and that the church was shaking, and he knew the Germans were advancing. One of the soldiers in his troop opened a shutter of the window and was shot instantly under his arm, and it must have hit an artery because he didn't last too long. Uncle Dick said he had the walkie-talkie and that he was able to reach the American line, and they told him and his men to get out because the Americans had advanced their artillery and they would soon be firing to drive the Germans back, and where they were at was in the line of fire. So Uncle Dick and the remaining men ran back to the American line where they incurred heavy shelling. He said he remembers a sharp pain in the back, and he saw one of his fellow soldiers go down. He and 2 others made it back to the American line. All had been hit, and the paramedics met them and started working on their injuries. At first, Uncle Dick said he refused medical treatment and wanted to rejoin his company, but the paramedic looking at him said he was hit bad and was bleeding and he needed to stop the bleeding. So Uncle Dick allowed the paramedic to work on him. He said they cut off his shirt, and he remembers a lot of needles and sticks. The field surgeon told Uncle Dick he was worried that perhaps shrapnel was near his spine, and he was going back to pack his wound and send him to England, where a surgeon could do an X-ray to see on how to remove the fragments without cutting into his spine. As it turned out, they were not too close to the spine and could be removed with no problem. After his surgery, he was ordered to remain in the hospital for 12 weeks so he could have therapy on his arm, so he could regain strength before he could be combat ready. After about 6 weeks in the hospital, he requested that he be able to leave and rejoin his company, but the British surgeon denied his request, stating that he needed more time to heal and his right arm was still too weak for combat. When Uncle Dick was released from the hospital, he was sent stateside to prepare for a Japanese invasion because the war in Europe was winding down. Of course, we never did a Japanese invasion because it was decided to drop the atomic bomb. So that was the end of the war for him, and he came home after that.